My name's Will Thompson. I'm United States Attorney for the Southern District of West Virginia. We're here today for the National Human Trafficking Awareness Day. Appreciate everybody coming out for this. This is the whole point of the day, is to make people more aware of this horrible issue that's facing our state and our society. I'm going to finish my remarks here in just a moment, but I would now like to introduce Jennifer Goddard, who is the YWCA Chief Executive Officer, and she's going to have a presentation to make. I'm going to speak after that, and then we have a special event at the end of that.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming out. Human Trafficking Awareness Month and Human Trafficking Awareness Day are really important, and we're here because it's not about us, it's about the people we serve. At YWCA Charleston, we serve survivors of domestic violence as well as survivors of human trafficking through our Resolve Family Abuse program. And so over the past few years, we have been putting an emphasis on education of our staff, on education of our people in our community about human trafficking, what it looks like, what it sounds like, and how we can best serve survivors. And so our goal at YWCA Charleston is to make sure that we are getting the word out on human trafficking awareness and also making sure that people know where to turn when they need help. And today we're going to be doing something that is part of a national movement. We've done it a couple times at YWCA Charleston, and we thought it was a great opportunity to bring it out to the whole community. It's called the Red Sand Project. And so when we wrap up our comments today, we're going to invite you all to participate in a red sand event where we will be spreading red sand symbolically in the cracks in the pavement to acknowledge and make sure that people know that there are people every day who are falling through the cracks that we aren't able to serve, that we aren't able to reach, survivors of human trafficking. And so our goal is to raise awareness, to encourage people to look for resources, to find ways to become a part of the solution and better serve survivors of human trafficking. So what we'll be doing in a few minutes is handing out red sand, and then we'll be filling in the cracks. And so we will start that off and invite you all to join us and to show people, and we hope that people will ask what the significance of that red sand is. So if you are interested in learning more about human trafficking, there is a West Virginia Human Trafficking Task Force. They have a website. We also have, if you see something and you need to report, that number is 304-558-4831. We also encourage you, if you're in Boone, Clay, and Kanawha counties, you can reach out to the YWCA Charleston. Our webpage also has information if you're looking for resources for survivors of human trafficking. So with that, I'm going to turn the program back over here, and then we'll be getting together shortly. Thank you.
I'd first like to recognize some of our partners with our office that help us investigate and eventually prosecute human trafficking type crimes. This is a case that is very tough. It's very pervasive in our community, and it's something that the more we can make the community and the public aware of this, the better we can address it, and the better we can eventually save some of these victims from human trafficking. I'll probably miss a couple, and there's a lot more people that work with us other than this, but I do want to recognize the people who are here. We have the Kanawha County Sheriff's Office that's present. They're a wonderful partner in this. We have the West Virginia Fusion Center who's present. They have some people who devoted full-time to doing nothing but human trafficking as a valuable resource. We have some representatives from the Kanawha County Prosecutor's Office here, some representatives from the West Virginia Supreme Court. We have representatives from the West Virginia Human Rights Commission, and I believe we have somebody here from the West Virginia Division of Corrections. The whole purpose of this event today is going to happen here in just a moment. And what we're going to do, we are going to fill some of the cracks up here in a moment with red sand. The reason we're doing this is so people might see this on the news and is, why is the U.S. Attorney pouring red sand on the sidewalk in front of the Kanawha County Courthouse? Well, they're going to Google what red sand means. And when they do that, they're going to become more aware and learn more of the resources that are available to our community to combat human trafficking. Before we do it, I would like to open it up for any questions of either me or Ms. Goddard. It's a lot more prevalent than the public understands. It happens in many different varieties. We're seeing the human trafficking with children. We're seeing it in the sex trade. We're seeing a lot of it in the recovery community, that people are basically trafficking in people for profit in order to be able to bill a medical service and then leaving them alone without any help. It's very pervasive in the state, and the more we can make people aware of it, it's something that happens on a daily basis, and I think we need the public's help in addressing it. That is very tough. And that's what I'm going to encourage people. There's a lot of telltale signs, but a lot of it is something just doesn't feel right. Like that person doesn't look like they belong there, or that person, like I had a conversation with a member of my office yesterday who was talking about, well, this didn't feel right. And I said, well, those people were probably trafficked at the time. Do it. We've got some hotlines available. I would rather people call the hotline and it turn out to be nothing than for the fact that a victim's been left unprotected. So it's basically, I mean, there's a lot of telltale signs, and that's going to be some of the resources you can find when you look through this Red Sands project. It's a wonderful website when you do it. But the bottom end goal is if something feels off, think about it and hopefully make that call. A good example would be if you see someone who is panhandling for an organization that doesn't make sense, they're probably human trafficked. That happens a lot in our community, and I'm not saying that every person who's out there panhandling or something of that nature is a human trafficking victim. They're not. But that's a good sign of thinking about that they could be there on behalf of some other organization who's basically exploiting them. Any other questions? It makes me feel great. I think this right here shows that the public is concerned about this. People care about these victims. People care that no one wants to see anyone exploited. No one wants to see anyone sexually exploited or exploited for a labor, or exploited for a profit. And the fact the people who do this and the people who we do eventually charge for this are taking advantage of people at their weakest moment. So it warms my heart to see this amount of people out here and to see this range of people, from law enforcement to social workers and things of that nature. That is great. And the fact that the community is acknowledging and embracing it and doing what it can to help solve the problem. Any other questions? The one thing I would like for people to do is, when we do the moment here in just a minute, the Red Sand Project, take time, Google that, find out what that means. And there's a list, an incredible amount of resources available for that. That will give you some of the telltale signs of what to look for, what to think about. I've seen people trafficked in my prior job as a judge, where I've dealt with a lot of juveniles who were probably trafficked at some point, or spoke to criminal defendants later, and then you found out what led them on the road is that they were initially trafficked at a young age. So it really breaks your heart, but I would encourage people to educate themselves, look at the resources we're trying to make available and we're trying to draw attention to. Anything else? All right, let's do the pouring of the sand.